All right. So yeah, I created this like 10-minute video last week, Friday, and uploaded it, but apparently there was no audio in that. Man. Okay, at least it's only a 10-minute video, so I can redo it. So this is yeah what I did last week, so March 11th to 14. So basically, I mean, okay, I'm on a sabbatical. I want to say this over and over, but so I'm not very actively thinking or doing research these days. Or I mean, I'm thinking about research, but not very actively pursuing. So yeah, it's a bit slow. Like, so I'm trying to think of like some big ideas, and I'm trying to plan my next project in a big way. There are a bunch of ideas. So basically, there are three ideas that I'm thinking of, and like have to do or operationalize one of them in a big way. So the first is about deploying our YouTube data donation tools in India. I mean, one of the ideas originally was just to do a descriptive study like we did for WhatsApp, but for YouTube, like at scale. Uh, Trying to get a representative sample and get people's response, like histories, and try to study that. But the problem with that is it's just descriptive, so it's not necessarily, I don't know how much of uh, um, leverage there is in that. So the next thing I'm trying to think of is like very case specific. Like, so think about, let's say, women or migrants, or like how do they use YouTube. I'm not convinced about whether one of them is better than the other, or like yeah, how exactly these things will work out. So I still I mean, I am a bit yeah, so I don't have like the killer thing that convinces me to say, okay, let's go with this kind of thing. So I'm taking a lot of time on that, thinking. So that's one. The other is looking at effects of television. So TV is like a huge source, which is, I mean, in our space, in CSS space, very underlooked because, okay, it's video modalities, but now video is becoming more and more accessible, and you can process video more easily and more effectively. So I'm trying to think of like, can we do some interventions to understand the effectiveness of television? And so there, I'm trying to see if, for instance, we can do this sort of, there's this Josh Kala, David Brockman paper where they switched Fox News to CNN and or MSNBC, and then try to measure attitudes. So I want to do something similar, like basically not something similar. I mean, that's where I'm confused. So I don't want it to just be, this in this context, but I want to understand like the impacts of this media ecosystem in India, TV ecosystem particularly, quantify that. And maybe the sort of switching and deactivation is one way of measuring it. But yeah, so that's another. And there we are trying to build some technology to measure like how much people consume, like compliance, like so measure how much people consume, but also how can we track, like if we ask them not to watch Fox News, like, how can we be sure that they are not watching Fox News? And we're trying to develop some app or buy a device and things like that. We're trying to look at that. Then the third thing is looking at AI in India, like how are people using AI? What can be done about AI? Like, I think there's, I mean, not just in India, but in the global south in general, like there's going to be lots of impacts of AI. Again, like service work and all that sort of stuff. Like, so how can we quantify those and like have an infrastructure to actually measure those regularly? So we're trying to think of that. Maybe it's me. So I'm not convinced. I mean, I only have money for one of these, and like I wanna be sure like that I mean, I use it right. So yeah, that's the main thing. So that's one thing. Thinking about these things is taking some time. The other big thing is I'm trying to teach a course this summer on this AI snake oil book, Sayash Kapoor, Arvind Narayanan. So it's a very nice book on AI. It's general audience, and I think I'm also teaching it for a master's students who are also not general audience, but they're also slightly less technical. So I think it's a very good book to try to kind of give a sense of like what is AI, what predictive AI is, what generative AI is, where it works, where it doesn't work, why we should not undermine AI. Like for instance, I mean that's something that I'm trying to really focus on. I think that's a very important thing that Arvind and Sayash do a lot. That's another thing that I'm spending a lot of time on. So I've already created slides for 4 chapters. I've recorded the videos for 2 chapters. I mean, it's a lot of time. So every 1 hour of lecture, roughly, or one chapter, which is roughly like 45 minutes to 1 hour, it'll take me like roughly around 10 hours of preparations. I have to read the chapter, I have to create the slides, I have to make the slides better, add animations, add pictures, rehearse the slides, and then record the video. So this is, yeah, it's a lot of work, at least for the first time. But yeah, that's what I'm mainly focused on. I spent like these 4 chapters in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully this week I'll also do 4 more or something like that. By end of next week, if I can finish all the 10, with there's 10 lectures. It's an online class. If I have the video recorded, I think that's a very good thing. So hopefully that's something that I'm spending a lot of time on. I also, on one day, last Tuesday, I spent a whole day just going to New York and meeting some old friends of mine. So I just reached out to them again out of the blue. Leon, who works now at Bloomberg, he used to be at Markup. He's a very good, I mean, I've known him for a while now. He's really good. Like, he's an engineer turned journalist. So he does a lot of these sort of data-driven stories. And I mean, we didn't have anything common. We were just talking about how we could potentially work together and things like that. So but it's a good thing that you're in New York and you're, in touch with these people and you can just chat, go and chat with them. I also talked to Varsha Bansal. She is now at Columbia as a master student there. So I talked to her and yeah, about some ideas that what she's doing. She's done a lot of really good work in India on gig work, and we were trying to do something around that. But okay, it's a resource problem for me. But yeah, these things when if they come together, I mean, they are very hard. Like I think the scales of time scales, but also the incentives, all of these are very different for academics and journalists. But yeah, hopefully something will work out. And I think it's a big impact thing working with these journalists who also understand our language and me understanding their language. Let's see. So that's something that I spent like a whole day just talking to them. Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, see you the end of this week.